Good afternoon and welcome to today's Siesta Show. We're here with Gary of Spanish Airport Guide and various other airport guides.
Yeah, we do about 100 airport guides. Actually, I always sound a bit funny when I talk about the airport guides because it makes us sound really nerdy, but we've got about 100 airport guides. We cover 100 airports in Europe.
Do you plane spots?
No.
No, you don't. Do you own another route?
No. Do you know why we did airport guides? Shall I tell you?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Right. What happened was, when we moved here, my parents live in Cornwall, and they always used to say, well, who flies from Exeter to Malaga? And this is about 6 years ago. And you know what? You couldn't find out. You would go to all these search engines and say, I want to fly from Exeter on this day. And it wouldn't say, Flybe, the only airline flying from Exeter to Malaga, apart from Sovereign Airlines on the third Thursday of every month in the summer. It didn't tell you that information. And I used to get really frustrated because I didn't know who flew from where or where. And then actually when you start looking at, well, how do I get from the airport? What buses are there? What taxis? How much is it going to cost? There was such little information about that we started to build airport guides. We thought there was a gap in the market.
Really interesting. I think that could make another show. Good businesses come out of your own personal need, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Gary, because of the nature of your website, you get kind of like a first-hand look at what's going on in tourism at the minute, don't you?
Yeah.
What's going on with car hire?
Well, there's all sorts of odd things happening with tourism this year. Hotel rooms got a lot of availability. Mm-hmm. They're struggling to get to capacity, struggling to sell the rooms. I wouldn't say that they've slashed prices yet, but the average price of a hotel room, certainly on Costa del Sol, has come down this year.
Does that mean that people aren't coming here?
I think it means less people are coming, or they're leaving it later to book. That's also another factor. What happened last year was actually quite interesting for me because we also got a couple of apartments that we rent out for holiday lets. And whereas the year before, so I'm talking 2 years ago, we were probably fully booked for the summer by March, what happened last year is that a lot more people were leaving it later and later and later to book. So it took us longer to get booked for the summer. Mm. In fact, it took till about May. And I put that down to a couple of things. One is that a lot of people from last year, and it's going to be more exaggerated this year, were worried about their own positions at home, whether it's UK, Ireland, wherever you are. And they were worried about their own jobs, their own money or whatever. Even if you're in a very safe job or a very safe income stream or whatever, you still, at the back of your mind, you know there's stuff going on, so you just hold off. And so a lot of people hold off booking their holiday. And then I think what happens is they get to about June or July and they think, we're okay. I haven't lost my job. The world hasn't fallen down. And we're all still alive, and it's good, and we're going to need a holiday. And so they start booking. And last year, that was definitely what happened. This year, it has been tougher for hotels and apartment owners. Prices have definitely come down because the euro has been affected. And that's a big issue for somebody to get their mind around as a supplier of hotel rooms or holiday apartments in Spain. Because a currency fluctuation doesn't actually benefit hardly anyone because you're still you'd still be paying the same in pounds as a British traveller to Spain, and the person in Spain is actually getting less in euros. Yeah. So there's no actual benefit there for anyone. It's just a currency fluctuation. So it takes a long time before you decide to make drastic action on those prices. And I think this year the hotel rooms are probably going to be a lot cheaper.
But back in Easter, you were saying that the car hire contradicted this, didn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things going on. Car hire is interesting because I'd say that car hire in Spain is probably one of the biggest. Car hire in Spain is probably one of the biggest car hire areas in the world. Okay, more people come to Spain and rent cars per tourist than anywhere else in the world, and I firmly believe that. There was some interesting stuff. All the car hire companies this year, with the big fleets, they were worried that they were going to have surplus cars over the summer period. So rather buy whole batches of new cars, as they were selling them off, they buy them and sell them every 6 to 8 months. Mm-hmm. And rather than replace all those stock, they would just let them stock dwindle. And so they cut their fleets by around 20 to 30%.
Because they were expecting less.
They were expecting a much quieter summer.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They did this probably just going into the new year. Easter this year, 10 days before Easter at Malaga Airport, there wasn't one car left. So there was high demand. There was low supply, there were low stock levels, there was nothing left, not one car.
So the answer to that is book your car hire in advance.
This year's a weird one because you're going to get a hotel room for cheap. You could probably do a great deal on a holiday apartment.
But then you have to get a taxi.
And if you don't book a car far enough in advance, the price per booking is already high this year. We do a lot of car hire through the travel sites. The price per booking is already way higher this year than last year. Because the way that it works on our websites is it's a booking engine, and so it goes up. The more supply and the less demand, the cheaper the cars, and it starts to adjust itself. So supply runs out, the prices are going up, and they're going up. I mean, they're going up probably.
Oh, really? So it's not really a good idea to leave booking your holidays for last minute, then, is it?
The cars are going to be in trouble this year. You're going to pay more.
Right.
Period. There may be some airports that might have an exception to that. Maybe some city ones like Madrid and Barcelona. Maybe there's less people doing city breaks. But for areas like Costa del Sol, Costa Blanca, Costa Brava, I honestly can't believe you're going to be back getting a car cheaper this year than last year. And if you leave it to the last minute, you might find you won't get one. Holiday apartments, hotel rooms, you'll probably find you can get better deals. There's a real... Actually, I'll tell you the fundamental difference, actually. Flights and car hire go hand in hand. Because what happens is the airline companies slash routes. So there's a lot less routes and a lot less flights on offer this year than were on last year.
There are less routes this year then?
There are less flights per day. Say EasyJet to Luton, I don't know statistics without looking at it, but there's less routes. There's less of those flights.
Okay.
EasyJet to Gatwick, there'll be less of those flights. So they cut capacity. So what they're left with, they fill up. Car hire companies cut capacity. So they don't renew their fleets. They end up with smaller fleets. Hotel rooms, what are they going to do? They've still got a hotel, right? They can't just say, well, we're going to get rid of 100 rooms. How are they going to do that? I have heard of situations where they've been shutting floors, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Okay, well, that's something that you should bear in mind. When you think about leaving your holiday to the last minute, will you be able to get that flight at a good price and an essential or car hire? Okay, thank you for joining us today. Thank you very much, Gary. You've given us lots of information. Back soon. Bye.